You know, in trading, finding that one signal in a sea of noise, that's everything, right? Well, today, we're going to tear down a tool designed to do exactly that. It's called the SMART4TRADER Trend Momentum Screener.
This quote right here, this is the entire philosophy behind the tool. I mean, think about it. Why would you waste your precious time and, more importantly, your capital on markets that are just going nowhere? The whole point is to laser focus on that tiny slice, that 1% of assets where the real money is moving, where the real momentum is actually happening.
Okay, so first things first, we have to talk about a problem that, let's be honest, every single one of us traders faces every day. It's this constant, exhausting battle of trying to cut through just an overwhelming amount of market noise to find something, anything, that's actually actionable.
And that really leads to the million-dollar question, doesn't it? You've got thousands of assets all moving at once, so how in the world do you reliably spot genuine momentum? And I mean spot it before the big, juicy part of the move is already gone.
Here's the problem, and it's a big one. Most of the screeners out there, they're basically just looking in the rearview mirror. They're set up to spot really simple lagging stuff, like a moving average cross. But by the time it flashes an alert on your screen, the best part of that trend, it might already be fizzling out. They're totally reactive, not predictive at all.
So this is where we need a completely different way of thinking. Instead of just looking at where the price was, this screener is designed to analyze the, and I love this term, the physics of motion in the market. It's all about what's happening right now.
So what does that even mean, physics of motion? Well, think of it like a pressure gauge. It's a tool that's trying to measure the underlying pressure from buyers and sellers. And it does this by looking at the relative speed of 4 different EMAs, exponential moving averages. Because EMAs already focus on recent price, looking at their speed relative to each other gives you a way, way deeper look into the real health of a trend.
And hey, for all of you on TradingView, this should look familiar. The great thing is, this isn't some separate, clunky platform you have to learn. It's actually a custom script that you plug right into your Pine screener layout. So all this powerful analysis gets baked right into the workflow you're already using.
Okay, so we've talked about the what. Now let's get into the how. How does this thing actually measure that physics of motion? Let's pull back the curtain and look at the core logic that makes this tool so good at separating the real powerful trends from all the junk. All right, step 1, and this is the big one. It all starts with a super strict non-negotiable filter called the structural order. For a long trade to even be considered, the price has to be above the 10 EMA, which has to be above the 20, which is above the 50, and all of them above the 200. It's looking for that perfect, beautifully fanned out alignment. And of course, the exact opposite is true for a short. And I really want to stress this part. There are no almosts here, no close enoughs. If that perfect structure isn't there, the asset is instantly thrown out. It gets a score of 0, period. This is the first and, honestly, the most powerful way it filters out all that choppy sideways garbage.
But just having the right structure, that's only the start. Step 2 is what's called slope logic. This is where it confirms the trend isn't just a trend, but that it's accelerating. It's actually measuring the rate of change. It needs to see those faster EMAs pulling away from the slower ones, like a fan opening up. This is basically the mathematical proof that fresh power is pushing into that move.
What's really cool is that the tool has 2 different modes for 2 totally different trading styles. You've got strong momentum mode. This is for finding that ideal storm where everything is firing on all cylinders. Perfect if you want to jump onto a trend that's already like a runaway freight train. But then there's correction/reversal mode, which is a lot more subtle. It's specifically hunting for a tiny slowdown in the fastest EMA, which can be a golden signal that a pullback is ending and it's time to get in.
So you've got all this complex analysis happening under the hood, the structure, the acceleration, and it all gets boiled down into one simple, actionable number. So next up, let's decode that number, the signal score, and see how you can use it to make actual trading decisions.
And this is what it all leads to, a beautifully simple, clean, ranked list. Everything is sorted by signal strength, so you can see at a glance where the real action is. I mean, just look at the top of this list. ARMP has a score over 350. That's not just a trend. That is screaming that there's an incredibly powerful, aggressive move happening right there.
So you might be wondering, where does that number even come from? It's basically made of 3 parts.
First, an asset gets a base score of 50 points just for getting past those tough structural filters. Then it gets bonus points for slope power, that's how wide the EMA fan is, and it gets more bonus points for dist power, which is how far the price is rocketing away from the EMAs. So really, a higher score just means a more aggressive, explosive move.
And this table here, this is basically your cheat sheet for reading the signals. If you see a 0, just ignore it, move on. If it's between 50 and 70, okay, a trend might be forming. That's one to add to your watch list. Now the sweet spot, what they call the optimal trading zone, is right there between 70 and 110. But if you see a score over 120, whoa, that's a heads up. You're looking at an extreme parabolic move. Could be huge rewards, but you better believe it comes with high risk too.
All right, so we've gone through the why and the what. We know the logic, we know how to read the scores. Now let's bring it all home and talk about the simple, practical steps for using this thing to find what we're all looking for, those market rockets. And honestly, it could not be simpler. It's just a 3-step process. 1, add the signal strength column to your Pine screener. 2, set your filter to greater than 0 for buys or less than 0 if you're looking for sells. And 3, just sort the column. That's it. The most powerful, explosive trends in the market are going to float right to the top of your list. It's that easy. But I want to leave you with this one crucial thought. A tool like this is incredible. It does all the heavy lifting for you. It finds the rocket, but at the end of the day, you are still the pilot. Your skill as a trader, your entries, your risk management, your exits, that's what determines if you have a successful flight. The screener finds the opportunity. The real question is, how are you going to fly it?